भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। We'll just chant mantra number 9, 10 and 11. Andham tamah pravishanti, andham tamah pravishanti, ye vidhyamupasate, ye vidhyamupasate, tato bhuya ivate tamaha, ततो भूय इव ते तमः ये विद्याया गुम्रताः य उ विद्यया गुम्रताः अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमधीराणाम् येनस्तद्व्याचचक्षिरे विद्यां च यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः यस्तद्वेदो भयगुंसः अविद्यया मृत्युं तीर्त्वा विद्ययामृतमश्नुते अंधम तमः प्रविशन्ति. The goal or the purpose of the human birth is to attain moksha. This body is designed for moksha. And to gain moksha, we need knowledge. And that is the light. Knowledge is always equated with the light. That's the real light. So, the life should be led in such a way that you gain knowledge. Life should be lived in such a way that you get ready for the knowledge. Either you are prepared for the knowledge or you are pursuing the knowledge. We are already born ignorant. We are muktaha, but somehow we take ourselves to be bound, limited. A limitless person takes himself or herself to be limited. That means he or she is living in darkness, is as though born in darkness, born with ignorance, born in darkness. And if the life is not lived in such a way whereby you get ready for the knowledge, or you can gain the knowledge, that means life is lived in darkness, born in darkness and lived in darkness. When you are not pursuing the moksha, or at least when one doesn't live a life where there is a possibility of vairagya, the person should at least turn away from the worldly pursuits, at least some withdrawal, some introvertedness, some togetherness of the personality is the first step for pursuit of moksha. When one doesn't live a lifestyle, not even to gain a togetherness, not even for vairagya, that means the person is living in darkness and he or she is further going to be dark in the darkness, blinding darkness. When we commit to karma, when the mind is riddled with desires, mind is full of different wants, that mind who is always wanting something here and there, it has to plan and gather the resources and execute the work, and then on the way there are obstacles, and negotiate those obstacles and finally get the result. And when the result is gained, desired end is gained, there is always a pain. I didn't get what I expected, the way in which I expected, the time at which I expected, etc. That means the mind is always brooding about gross objects. It's always thinking of gross things. That person, when he or she is always thinking of gross things, obviously mind becomes more rajasic and more grosser. And because of karma and karma phala, will go to different lokas where he or she will be enjoying the pleasures if he or she has lived a life of dharma. That is called further darkness, blinding darkness, living a life of blinding darkness. These upasakas, we have seen this in detail, so now I'm not going to repeat that discussion. Vidya here means upasana, and avidya here means karma. These people who are committed to upasanas, that means they live in their imagined world. They live in their own world, subjective things. They are not available for objective transactions. Vyavahara is missing. And they revel in the world, private world, where others do not have entry into those worlds. Musicians, artists, painters, they are always in their own world. They are reveling in that. And that being the case, they are happy in being in their fantasy, in their imaginations. The Upasakas also imagine so many leelas. They are just happy in being what they are. So they don't face the realities of the life. And when you don't face the realities of the life, possibility of vairagya is least. They are like turtle. Any obstacle comes, they just withdraw and get into their state. Either music or dance or whatever it is. They just get into. And it doesn't solve the problem. The thing is like a cobweb waiting around manifestation, and they run away from it. Like so many I know, some people they say, whenever I get angry or disturbed, I keep listening to music. I go for a long drive. I go for a walk. You have to deal with this. You can't get into cocoon of your imagined world. So these people, compared to the person who is performing the duty and who is living in the world and performing action, compared to them, there are less chances of rubbing with the world, less chances of realizing the facts about the life, there are less chances of having some viveka and vairagya. Therefore, they say, tato bhuya ivate tama. They go to further darkness. They don't see the need for something higher. Person, when he or she is rubbed by the samsara, someday it strikes to that person, let me look for something other than this. Some Bhagavan or some moksha, etc. It wants it. That Arjuna was rubbed by the situation and said, Yat Shreyas Yat Nishchitam Bruhitan Me. Give me my Shreyas, I want this. Because there was a tremendous pain, stress, anxiety, he couldn't handle it. And therefore thought of, out of running away or whatever, this person has chances, whereas these people who are upasakas will never have such kind of mind, would never want to pursue for moksha. They'll be always going back into their imagined world and living in their own life. That's good. I am not saying this is bad. Please understand. Upasakas are great people. We need to respect them. But if you are talking from the standpoint of moksha, only confining to upasanas will not help them. And therefore it is says, Tata bhuya ivate tamaha. And therefore, what we should have, that there should be samuchaya. Samuchaya means both should be pursued together. When this possibility are there, two things can be pursued together only when they are conducive to each other. They are not in opposition to each other, then you can pursue those two things. And both the things individually have their own results, but jointly can give you something more. And therefore, you have to pursue both. Both the things are necessary in life. Karma is necessary, and upasana also is necessary. Physical activity is necessary. Mental activity is also necessary. Why? Let's see this translation of this particular mantra. The 10th mantra we saw, the phalam, the result of upasana and karma is different. When you perform karmas, you go to devalokas, and when you do upasanas, you can go to some different higher lokas. We have discussed this in last class. Now, the 10th and the 10th mantra says, or 11th, Vidyam cha avidyam cha. Vidya as well as avidya. Yastat ubhayam veda saha. One who pursues both vidya and avidya together, those who know these two. What these two? Vidya and avidya. What these two? Karma and upasana. Vidya and avidya together attain immortality. Avidyam mrityum tirtva. They attain immortality through vidya. Vidya amrutatvam Pashnute, and they cross the death, they cross over the samsara through avidya, and they gain immortality through vidya. This is the translation. Now, let us understand what is the need for both. You see, the principal obstacle, the fundamental obstacle in life is ignorance. That is the root of all the problems, self ignorance. In fact, in our life also, ignorance is a problem. When you don't see the things properly, when you don't understand the things properly, it causes problems more so in relationship. And when I say relationship, I don't mean that relating to someone else. Every moment you have to relate with the objects, with your work, with your body also, with your mind also, with your home also, and then with your relatives, partners, children, parents, friends, all of them you have to keep relating. When we relate, and if you don't know the proper way of relating, it creates problem. Fundamental problem is ignorance. Swami Chinmayanji used to give a beautiful example. Those days, now no more, some of the Westerners may not even understand the example. There used to be one wheel, cycle wheel with a very rough surface. And that fellow will come with the wheel on a stand and he will rotate. And there's knives and things, scissors and knives, when they lose their edge, to sharpen them, he will rotate the wheel fast and put them on that wheel. The surface of the wheel is so rough and that is put at such a proper angle and so smartly that sometimes it used to give rise to sparks also. And the knife or whatever was put there will become sharp. That was called sharpening wheel. Now the trick was, one should know at what angle should the knife or instrument which is to be sharpened to be kept. If the angle is not proper, rather than gaining the sharpness, you lose whatever sharpness you have. So it acted double. Either it will sharpen the tools or you lose the sharpness if you don't know how to put it. Similarly, this samsara is like that wheel. You should know how to, at what angle, how to relate with the world. Understand, when I say world, it means not people only. Objects, your home, your money, including your body, your mind, your home, your office, your work, everything. At what angle, how much priority should I give? And how should I look at it? You don't know, it adds to your agony and pain all the time. Because you don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to relate it. You need little wisdom, transactional wisdom, like TA, transactional analysis they do in psychology. You need a TA, not TA, but you need TW, transactional wisdom at least, whereby you don't get rubbed. And just adding one more thing here, though it's not relevant, that is the significance of Deepavali. We light the lamps. I had told you earlier, lamp symbolizes knowledge. Any source of light is a symbol of knowledge. Why? the effect of ignorance and effect of darkness is same. In darkness, the thing is right in front of you, neither you see it nor it is available to you. Though you are wanting to have a torchlight, it is there, but it is as though not available. So also in ignorance, things are available, but they become unavailable to you because of veil of ignorance. An opposite to darkness is light, an opposite to ignorance is knowledge. So light symbolizes knowledge, darkness symbolizes ignorance. Deepavali is a festival of light. It's not even a festival. By the way, all our Indian festivals are religious and ultimately spiritual. It has a connection to the wisdom which Shastra has it. The essence of Upanishad, Jeev Brahma Aikya, or the knowledge of fullness. Every festival is like. In India, we don't have carnivals. Like Brazil and all those countries have the carnivals. We don't have. We have carnival, but Ganesha carnival, they call it. Ganesh Chaturthi processions, Janmashtami processions. These are all carnival, they call it, but it's religious. There was no festival which was secular, or no festival that was just started by society with some event. No, it had some religious background. Deepavali is a festival of light, meaning thereby you light the lamp in darkness. It's a prayer for knowledge. And next day is a new year. That's a new beginning. You can connect it to Lord Rama. This was the day when he started ruling the kingdom. He sat on the throne in Ayodhya. Rama killed Ravana on Dashera, the 10th day of Navratri, and came to Ayodhya today. And tomorrow he was coronated. But they say because of Rama came, people lighted the lamps, etc. But from tomorrow is a new year. New year is a Ramarajya. Ramarajya means what? I have a life of peace and happiness. Discovering that what I am seeking is myself. That is a Ramarajya. That's why it's a new year. Coming back to this, fundamental problem is of ignorance. Ignorance caused ahankara. Ahankara caused ragadveshas, and then galore of problems. That nature of the self was revealed right in the first mantra. Ishavasyam idam sat. Again, there were 4 mantras, where again the Acharya from 4th to 8, 5 mantras. Acharya revealed tadejati, tannejati, taddure, tadantik, ityadi, tatra ko moha ko shoka hisya, etc., etc. It again revealed the self-knowledge. Okay? Now, that is my nature. In spite of teaching, and in spite of the fact that this is myself, it is not something that is away from me, not something that I have to gain it or achieve it in course of time and place and efforts. It is myself. The seeker is the sought, or the sought is not away from the seeker, and there is a teacher available to tell you that seeker and sought are non-dual. In spite of that, you don't see, one doesn't seem to own up the vision. The word own up. People tell us, Swamiji, I have completely understood I am Ananda. But When I go out, that Ananda disappears. Now, this is a self-contradictory sentence. Today, class Swamiji was so good. I have completely understood I am Ananda. When you have completely understood, where is the question of but? That means you have not completely understood. So that means I cannot own up. Sometimes, because of my background, modern lifestyle and education system, I may have relative sharpness, relative subtleness, and may have some punya where I come across teacher, competent teacher, and listen to him. May have that leisure, fortunately, to listen. And I listen the teacher objectively, and I get a glimpse of it, but cannot hold on to it. That shows there are few secondary obstacles. Primary obstacle is ignorance, and there are secondary obstacles which needs to be addressed to. Self-knowledge or self was revealed in the first mantra, again in the fourth to eighth mantra, but in between Lord also said, Kurvan neveha karmani jijivishet shatagum sama. The phalam of the shravanam doesn't come to me. My listening has not become successful. It has not borne the fruits of me being happy all the time. That secondary obstacles are called mala and vikshepa, impurity and restlessness. What are the secondary obstacles? Mala. What are the impurities? Impurity means raga and dvesha. Strong likes and dislikes. Strong value structure. These are the called secondary obstacles. Vikshepa means general restlessness of the mind. Incapacity to focus on a given subject for a length of time. So much of anxiety and pressure inside. I've seen, I go to somebody's house and Bhiksha, and after Bhiksha, they've invited friends and satsang is going on. The host, lady herself or male, the person himself asks the question, genuinely wanting to know the answer. By the time I start the answer and I look at someone else, he suddenly wakes up and goes out. Goes in and brings a plate of fruits for me. I am answering your question. The mind is, oh, Swamiji has to be given fruits. Now forget it now. You just listen what I'm telling, Otherwise, they just go and open the door or attend to some book, something, message. Restless mind. It's so habitually restless that person himself doesn't notice. I had one student when I was teaching in Ahmedabad that Paramatmananda used to started this Pennsylvania ashram was just begun, and he used to come for 6 months, and I used to conduct classes for him for Ahmedabad Center 6 months, sometimes 8 months, almost for 7, 8 years. So that time I had one student. He had hardly some 50, 100 hairs left on the head. Yeah, forehead was so big, and not only Tripunda, you can do Ashtapunda. 8 fingers can go. It was right up to that South Indian Nambudri type forehead. Very, very scary for a head with the hairs. When I am teaching something, class is going on, suddenly that fellow will take a comb from his back pocket and do this and put it back. It was so restless, mechanical that he never realized that I do it. But it is to break my thinking, it is to break my flow of teaching. I couldn't hold this. After a week, I said, "You are doing this." Really, I'm doing. No, Swami, I never do that. I'm a disciplined person. It's self-certification. I'm a disciplined person. I never do that. That is restlessness. The calm has been replaced by WhatsApp messages. It is replaced by mobile. But that restlessness is there. Something they open up the mobile and want to check and see, and what for, I don't know. This malavikshepa are secondary obstacles which prevents you from not only gaining knowledge, pursuing knowledge. The pursuit of knowledge itself is hampered because of this restlessness and this malavik, this impurity of the heart. Exactly like person needs an operation, invasive surgery, but then doctors cannot perform because blood pressure and the sugar shoots up by the time the operation day comes. He's so afraid of it. By the time they decide to take it to the operation theater and final checking is on, the BP has shot up. The sugar has shot up out of anxiety. That secondary obstacle prevents the procedure to remove the primary obstacle. Similarly, these secondary obstacles prevent the procedure, learning or teaching to remove the fundamental problem of self-ignorance. Shastra has given a means to remove these secondary obstacles. Karma is a means to remove impurities of the heart, and upasanas are the means to remove the general restlessness of the mind. Okay? So, mala nivritti arthe, to gain freedom from mala, karma sadhanam, actions are the means. Chanchalya nivritti arthe, upasana sadhana. That meditation, upasana japa is a means. In our culture, the child was initiated into Gayatri. Boy and the girls were initiated into mantra at the age of 5 or 8. They were asked to do Gayatri Japa thrice a day. Morning, afternoon, evening. No, morning Sandhya, Madhyana Sandhya, Sayam Sandhya. 3 Sandhyas and 3 times their Sandhya action was very little, but Mala, Gayatri Japa Mala was important. It was an exercise to build concentration, to build a capacity to focus on a given subject for a length of time, which was useful for the regular study and certainly useful for moksha. No, when you study, you need little focus. You need to see the things through and through with little sharpness of the mind. That is gained through upasana. And as I said, karma here doesn't mean any action. Earlier we have said, karma means shastra vihita karma. That karmas which are enjoined by shastra. Now, with this, you see this mantra, avidyam vidyam chaiva yastat veda ubhayagum saha. Vidyam cha, one who pursues karma and pursues upasana together. Why? Then he says, avidya mrutyum tirtva. That person will cross mrutyu by avidya and will gain immortality by vidya. Vidya amrutam ashnute. It gains immortality by vidya. Shankaracharya ji gives a beautiful meaning over here. What is the avidya. What? Through avidya, which mrityu you cross it. Mrityum tirtva swabhavikam karma cha gnanam cha. The natural tendencies, natural actions, natural inborn attitudes itself is mrityu. Very beautifully explained in Katha Upanishad. Yamaraja says, Paranchi khani vetrunat swayambhuhu tasmat parang pashyat inantarat. Paranchi khani vetrunat swayambhu. Swayambhu means the Lord, the Ishvara. Vetrunat has destroyed, has killed this fellow by giving him the extroverted sense organs. That the sense organs are designed to be extrovert, by doing that itself, the creator, the Ishvara, has destroyed the being. Why? Because they are extrovert, therefore, Parashak kaman anuyanti balaha te mrutyor yanti vitatasya pasham. Yamaraja says, because of that extrovertedness, right from childhood, human being, or for that matter, any living being, pursues only and only external objects. Somehow you see Sukham there. Think of this. No mother has to tell a baby so many things. How to sit, how to walk, how to eat, everything. How to dress up, everything she teaches. Baby picks up. But no mother teaches or takes a class. Hey baby, there is happiness in the objects of the world. No mother tells. Hey baby, go for toys, you will become happy. Mother doesn't tell that. Baby, eat chocolate, you will become happy. I don't know. This is really a question in mind. Or I see it as a Maya. I have traveled across the globe, almost 27, 30 countries. Any country you go, any culture, any religious background, in any political system, babies all over the world like chocolate. Something Bhagavan has put in their tongue. They just fall for chocolate. Mother would say, okay, Swamiji, we don't give him and he doesn't eat it. Do you like it? Baby says no. They want to show to me. Baby doesn't like chocolate. It is their greatness that they have prevented the baby from chocolate. That's it. Today only it happened. Swamiji, my son, he is 7 or 6. He has hardly eaten chocolate 3 to 4 times. And he doesn't like it. Correct, baby? Correct, Munna? You don't like it. Munna will say yes only because dad is asking. His mother also will say yes. Why Munna? When dad asks in certain tone. So he says, yes, I don't like it. I just have a big dibba, a big box of chocolate. I started giving. Want one? Yes. Want second? Yes. Want third? Yes. Baby took up to 15. And I was to give 16th one also. Mom said, no! She shouted. This is Maya. And in case of elders, all over the world, you might have not noticed, look at this. People all over the world like potatoes. French fries are most popular dish and available across the globe. Anywhere you go, even our Ekadashi also is incomplete without our Gujju French fries, Katri, Batatani Katri. That is always there. That I seek happiness outside without education, without any unfoldment. Baby knows. Baby seeks the things outside. And that thing drives the person or baby to pursue karma, gain the desired result, desired object, gain something which I wanted to, because to be happy. That means it is natural attraction for external objects, natural desire, if I use technical words, for artha kama, is obvious. As I said, since it's natural, it is there. But what is the death? That you go by that. Human being has a capacity to grow out of that extroverted, has a capacity to be introvert. When you don't be the introvert, don't try to be introvert and don't grow out of extrovertedness, that means you are going from death to death. And when you live a life in such a way that you become a relatively self-introspective and composed person, together person, that means you have crossed Mrityu. What takes him to new birth and death and birth and death? Yamaraja says in Kathopanishad, I don't go and catch them. Their extroverted activity prompted by ego or not lack of understanding brings them to me again. I'll have to open the window. Somebody, sorry, has lighted up some agarbatti. It is all smelling and getting nausea. Devaraja says they come to me again and again because of this extrovertedness. When I live a life whereby I can be introvert, that means I run away or I become free from death. And that is a beauty. That is the greatness of our Shastra. They give a lifestyle. Hindu Dharma and Hindu culture gives a lifestyle. This Varnashrama is a lifestyle. And certain values and attitudes. What is a value that we are given? What is the attitude that we are given? This lifestyle and these values and attitude are such that you are relieved from extrovertedness. You learn to be more introvert. And then you grow to be together person. That means you are away from the death. That is called Vidyaya Mrityum Tirtva. They will cross the death by karma. What is that lifestyle? Varnashrama Dharma. And what is that value? That value is I commit myself to my duty. That's the thing. Whole culture is a duty-based culture. We were never taught any rights in our childhood. We were always taught or conditioned that this is your duty and you should do. This is your duty. This is your duty. The value to commit to duty. And what is the attitude that they have given? The attitude is whenever I perform my duty, I perform it as an offering to the Lord. I do it as a mandate of the Lord that has been given to me, and I'm expected to do. As a servant of the Lord, I perform my duty. This particular value and attitude and the lifestyle helps the person to be introverted, helps the person to grow out of this urge for pleasures. It releases the pressure. There is a psychological pressure to have this, to enjoy this, to possess this, to experience this, to go, to not to go, etc., etc. You are relieved from your internal pressure of wanting. In other words, relieved from pressure of raga and dvesha. Relatively you become free from the holds of likes and dislikes. That is possible when you live a lifestyle according to Shastra. Yada Shastra Drashtir Bhavati, that there is a vairaga for every object is for every indriya is natural. I can grow out of it. That is the Purushartha. Human Purushartha is not simply to gain few things here and there, possess certain things here and there, experience certain things here and there. No. Human freedom lies in a capacity to say no to myself. I don't go by my fancies, I go by dharma. I commit myself to my duties. I commit myself to what my rishis and elders have said. That helps him to grow from the holds of likes and dislikes. That is called here in a relative way crossing the death. Avidya mrityum titva vidyaya amrutam ashnute. By vidya, the person will gain amrutam. What is amrutam? That natural extrovertedness will be curtailed. And when you do upasana, that restlessness of the mind, which takes person from one person to another person, or from one news channel to another, etc., etc., keeps the person so much of extrovertedness. That is one gains freedom from it by vidya, by upasana. When Daivam is involved, Ishwar Krupa is involved, and that upasana also help in Antakara Shuddhi, the purity, because Bhagavat Nama is involved. So, Vidya, Avidya, Mrutyum Tirtva, Vidya, Amrutam, Ashnute. The person will gain immortality. Gaining immortality is relative. Going to some lokas where you enjoy those loka bhogas for a very long time. Compared to Prithvi Loka, time scales are different. Even the time scale of the flies and butterflies and human is different. Butterfly may be telling to her mother butterfly, mother butterfly may be telling to baby butterfly, oh baby, humans are immortal. Because we die, our two generations pass in one day sometimes. And they have some such, one day your two generations, such 30 days makes a month, and such 12 months makes a year, and such 80 years, 100 years, these fellows live. Immortal they are. Time scale is different. Similarly, with reference to us, Devaloka time scale is different. It is mentioned in Shastra, 100 years of human life equals to 1 day of Devaloka. Day means morning, evening, or evening to next day morning. Half of the day. So our 200 years makes 1 day. After 200 years gets over, Indra will change the date from his calendar. Now you don't have to change, watch and all that automatically changes the date. Automatically changing happens after 200 years. It's a big life, Amruta. Almost deathless in relative sense. Therefore it is says Vidya Amrutam Ashnate. Vidyati, through Vidya, they will gain immortality. Why? Again, mind is focused on japa, and there is obstacle. The obstacle is noticed, and again practicing. Again new obstacle comes. Like that, obstacles keep coming, but you know the pattern, this type of the thought that come. You leave them with your understanding, then you can pursue the knowledge all the time. Okay, therefore he says, Vidya Amrutam Ashrute. Because these two sadhanani, that one is karma and second is upasana. These two sadhanani helps one to be free from the holds of these secondary obstacles of restlessness and extrovertedness and lack of purity in terms of freedom from raga dveshas. That not being there, this is gained through karma and upasana. Both the spheres are independent, but both are useful. More karma with you do with this value, I have to perform my duty first, and then attitude, because there is knowledge that Guru has told, and therefore I do it. That attitude releases the person relatively from the holds of likes and dislikes. They become shithila, they become weak holds. If they are no more so strong that it becomes an issue for all the things that I face with. No. So that is Mrityu Taranam, and Amrutatva Praptihi is in two ways, and Mrityu is also two ways. If one is so committed to karmas all the time, we have seen people doing seva also. They may be too much committed to karma, but in the process, they miss the boat. They forget that their purpose of human existence is moksha praptihi, natu karma or seva. It's endless. Somewhere you have to draw the boundary. And that moment you draw the boundary, that is the first sign of viveka. And that is gained through karma only. Which karma? The same karma which he otherwise thought of his own self to do, and may be forbidden by Shastra, and may not be wanting to do, may be asked by the Shastra to do. When you do have a Shastra drashti, when you always conduct yourself, keeping in mind the vision of Shastra, that is enough for antahkarana purity. Impurities will remove and you will gain necessary purity. So both should have place in our life. Karma is also necessary, upasana also necessary. And it gains amrutatvam. More upasana you do backed by karma yoga buddhi, more quiet and more giving you become, more responsible you become. People hurt others inadvertently. They don't know they are hurting. But this person that gains such a maturity, whereby he or she is Vidya Amrutam Ashnate, he gains Amrutatvam through Vidya. And next section is Sambhuti and Asambhuti, which I'll start tomorrow. With this background, I think this is enough today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.